All right, so the big question here is why are Indians taking over critical positions apart from the whole tech sector? Famously, the CEO of Google, again, an Indian ethnic who came from India. You have a lot of Western presidential positions. The very popular, very famous Rishi Sunak, again, an Indian ethnic. Both his parents from India, migrants from India moved to the UK, and now he goes on to become the Prime Minister of the UK, a Western country. Very interestingly, Republican candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, and I recently made a video on him and his chances. He is one of the leading candidates to become the next US president. Again, it's too early, but he is really leading the charts. He is replacing a lot of key people there in terms of the polls and the rankings, and he's a direct threat to Donald Trump in the next US presidential elections. Apart from the whole Indian ethnic population, the reason why I'm making this video in the first place is because of a comment that someone left on my forum. In my reply, my analysis on that, what I feel about what he said about Indians. Apart from just the Indians, you also have key leadership from the Muslim community that's taking over a lot of presidential positions. And I directly see this as almost like a competition of sorts. Now, if you look at the president, and I'm not talking about the Muslim leadership of the Muslim world, I'm talking about some non-Muslim countries where you have Muslim leadership. If you look at the president of Maldives, that's Ibrahim Mohammed Saleh. You have president of Singapore, again a very westernized country, Halima Yacob, and she leads Singapore. Now if you look at the president of Malaysia, Anwar Ibrahim, so again of Muslim descent, and these are just a few examples. You have, I'm not even talking about the governor and all those other key leadership within the governments of some of the Western countries. I'm going to discuss why I feel Indians are taking over in such large numbers. What is the reason why they're getting into all the mainstream positions? And a lot of people are curious. A lot of people don't understand the reason why this is happening. And let me first discuss that interesting comment that Thomas Hardy left on the forum, and this was in response to a video I created on Russia. So Russia famously introduced free citizenship for foreigners, and initially they had some military requirement, but then they eased it and made it more accessible to a lot of people. Again, I don't recommend any of that, but it's a news coverage I need to report. So if you have missed that coverage, you can always return and take a look at this video. This talks about what that matter is. But he responded to that video and said he doesn't think it's true. Indians would be pouring into Russia, particularly women and children whom don't have to do military. Russia is extremely oil rich, has amazing universities. 50 million Indians would be pouring in if it was free. Well, forget the program here. Indians are pouring in. So the reply to him is that Indians are definitely pouring in, not just into Russia, Ukraine, but a lot of other countries, a lot of Western countries. The reason why it's so easy for Indians to pour in is because of their background. They invest a lot in education there. Unfortunately or fortunately, the way you look at it, but when it comes to sports and athletics and fitness, they focus less in those areas overall. I think it's improving now, but historically they've always emphasized, and each one wants their children to really focus on the educational field, get smarter, learn more, get the education, and then fly off, right? Fly off either within the country. There's a lot of heavy emphasis now to do some lot of development within the country and make that country even larger and bigger. But a lot of people also travel outside. They go to different nations, especially their parents, right? The parents who have migrated, they have had all these children in different important critical countries. And now the Indian children who are smart people have entered the mainstream leadership, right? Leadership of companies, politics, critical IT jobs. all of those kind of positions. So that is the reason why they are everywhere. There are more than 1 billion people, and it's a tiny country with so much of population, all educated, all moving out. So the numbers over here definitely matter. The quality is drastically improved in terms of intelligence, education, sophistication, communication, and that's the reason why you're seeing all these people now. The numbers are blowing up and they are grabbing critical positions. Now, when you have any kind of ethnicity producing the numbers, there are good chances that you're going to find those people in mainstream positions. And this is just the top of the top, right? If you leave the top of the top, if you look at the critical IT positions, most of the technology CEOs are all Indians. If you look at the medical field, most of the doctors in the Western nations a lot of them are Indian. So they are holding very critical positions around the world in every single field. And now, particularly in the fields which have communication, the presidential fields, and the IT, global IT leadership technology fields. Now, before we end, let me know in the comments below if you feel I've missed out some important Indian figure or a Muslim figure who is in critical presidential position around the world that you would like to highlight. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, take a moment, turn on the bell notification and subscribe to stay on top of all the latest breaking news and RCBI breakthroughs. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, make sure you're subbed, and catch you in the next one.